What's up, everybody? Soren Baker here, Unique Access Entertainment. People have been asking me to do more lives, so I wanted to do another one for you. So here we are, talking about the Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew album, which came out today. Very interested to see what people think, if they've checked it out, and if they've checked it out, what they're thinking about it. I'm going to be talking about it, taking some questions, and then seeing what people got going on as well. So, very excited to see and hear what people have to say. So, we get into your questions about it. Bobby Digital presents the Juice Crew. I had heard about this project last year. I'm sure, like many people, MC Shan was very critical of the project, and Chris Schwartz, formerly of Rough House Records, had given me an advanced copy to check out. So, that was pretty awesome to be able to hear this album long before it came out. And I just did an interview today with one of the artists that's featured on it. So that'll be coming up on Unique Access hopefully next week. But at the interim, let's talk about it. Bobby Digital presents Juice Crew. I was very intrigued to see what the RZA was going to deliver and how the artists that were on it delivered their stuff too, because of course they came through the game through Marley Marl in the 1980s, and here we are, 2026, and the Juice Crew's still going strong. Going down the artists, Big Daddy Kane is obviously still one of the all-time greats and still doing it, touring, doing all kinds of things, appearing in movies. I've had a number of interviews with Big Daddy Kane on Unique Access Entertainment, so definitely check those out. Search the channel if you haven't already. We got Granddaddy IU is on there. I've also interviewed him on Unique Access before he passed away. Unfortunately, check those interviews out if you haven't already. Also, Kool G Rap is on this Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew album. We got Craig G, who I've interviewed on Unique Access Entertainment. In fact, if you don't have it or haven't checked it out, I have a whole channel to about the Juice Crew, a whole playlist, I should say. So check that out if you haven't already, but that's something you should definitely check out. I got Roxanne Shante is also on this project. We got Pearl Gates, Master Ace, Mathematics, and MC Shan. Master Ace, friend of mine, I've interviewed him many times on Unique Access Entertainment, and he's great on this project. We're going to talk about that as I go through the songs. And then MC Shan, who was also on Unique Access Entertainment with an interview, is somebody that I definitely think you check out his interviews as usual. MC Shan is very lively and frank and doesn't hold punches even when it comes to his own stuff. So let's get into some of these songs. I like the intro on the Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew. There's a lot of scratching on there, which I love. And they were saying everybody's names who's involved in the project, including the late great Granddaddy IU. And it was also playing off the Mr. Magic radio show. So I thought that was pretty cool that they were able to do this and kind of resurrect the Juice Crew and pay homage to them yet again. Uh, oh, shout out. Our first comment is also coming with a super chat. So thank you for that. Obviously, we appreciate any super chats we get and donations. That helps me and helps the people at Unique Access. Allows me to give people a little more. So shout out to ND Productions 9. That was very much appreciated. And thank you for your support here on Unique Access Entertainment. So getting into the Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew album, I guess the lead single, because I'd heard this song, I saw that they started promoting this last year, Open Your Eyes, Big Daddy Kane. That's the first actual song after we get out of the intro, which was produced by Mathematics, with Open Your Eyes produced by the RZA. I was very intrigued by it because this is playing off of Big Daddy Kane's line, lyrics from Word to the Motherland from Long Live the Kane back in 1988. So to see him bring that back, I thought was pretty awesome. And then the way that Big Daddy Kane breaks down this song, for those that are familiar with the 5% Nation, most of the lyrics here are tied into directly or indirectly 5 Nation ideology and mathematics. So I thought that was awesome. And then the way Big Daddy Kane broke down Hesitant of Things on sale for 10%. When you hear the song, if you haven't already, open your eyes. I think you'll get a chuckle off that like I did. But Big Daddy Kane dropping a 5% knowledge, wisdom, and understanding on Open Your Eyes, I thought was really well done and something that, ties into a lot of his classic material. So it was good to hear that again. So I really enjoyed that. And Big Daddy Kane shows why he's obviously still one of the greats of all time. Another song, Making It Home, with Granddaddy IU and Cool G Rap. Uh, Cool G Rap, after being the cool genius of rap, turned into the cool gangster of rap. And we hear a lot of that here on Making It Home. He's talking a lot about a lot of clever drug talk and different things in his verses. Ram Blue 5171, got to check it out right away. Yes, Bobby Digital presents Juice Crew. I'm very interested to see what people think because, of course, Marley Marl didn't produce this. The RZA produced this, and it's also a very different sound from even the classic RZA by and large. I'd say the Lolita beat that Craig G raps over is probably the most quote unquote traditional RZA Wu Tang sounding beat, at least on initial listen. So I'm interested to see what people think. But Making It Home, Cool G Rap is great on there, Granddaddy IU, and then Craig G on there. So that's kind of nice to hear the three of them together. And then, like I mentioned, Craig G with Lolita, I thought was actually one of the more interesting songs and probably has the most old school Wu Tang Juice Crewish feel for people that are looking for that. And Craig G's song Lolita is really all about Roxanne Shante. Ram Blue 5171, any biz? I missed the biz. No, there's no Biz Marquee on here, unfortunately. They were able to get a verse from the late great Granddaddy IU, but he's the only posthumous performance that we get here on Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew. So that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But back to Lolita with Craig G, and I missed the biz too, man. He's somebody I always wanted to get on Unique Access. I had met him uh, out and about, but I had never actually got to interview him on any capacity. So that was definitely something that was disappointing. But thankfully, I always got the music, and I got to remember meeting him and shaking his hand and just telling him that I was a big fan. So that was cool. Derek Malloy, salute. Thank you for that. Salute to you as well. Appreciate your steady support. But as far as Lolita, with Craig G in this breaking down of Roxanne Shanté's life, it's interesting because when we get to Roxanne the Truth here on Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew, that's also um, a lot to do with Roxanne Shanté's biography. So it's interesting that Lolita and Roxanne the Truth are back to back songs really about Roxanne Shanté's life, her upbringing, and her experiences. So I thought that was crazy. Derek Malroy, did I see uh, Chris Reed? Chris Kid Reed had a heart transplant. Yeah, seen that. That's crazy. And as we see with this Juice Crew project that has a posthumous appearance from Granddaddy IU, a lot of artists that we love are passing away or have passed away, or in kids' instance, are having serious health issues. So that's crazy. And in fact, on Roxanne the Truth, Roxanne Shante talks about missing her mom, missing Biz Marquee, missing Fly Tie, missing Mr. C, missing DJ Polo, and even TJ Swan. So it's a shame we got all these great artists that have left us and executives in Fly Tie's case. But the great thing is we still do have their music to help us remember them and to carry on their memories. So that's that. But with Lolita and Roxanne the Truth back to back on the Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew, I thought it was just interesting that there's basically two songs that are biographies of Roxanne Shante back to back. So I thought that was wild. And it was also kind of wild that they're back to back sequenced. And then also you're hearing Craig G's perspective of what he saw and from being around Roxanne Shante during her rise to prominence to see his perspective on it. And then right after that, with Roxanne's The Truth, to hear Roxanne Shanté's own perspective and breakdowns of her own life, career, and things. And it's also autobiographical song, like I said, but she was talking about being 15-year-old and the best MC ever. So Roxanne Shante still is very, very confident and secure in who she is and what she was doing. But Roxanne Shante also references the beef that Big Daddy Kane, or not a beef, something that happened between Big Daddy Kane and Cool G Rap. So hopefully, if I get to talk to Big Daddy Kane again for Unique Access, or get Cool G Rap on here, which would be great, talk to them about that. She also talks about living with Benny Medina and Rick James, which is wild, and how she's living right. And, Roxanne Shante, as people probably know, has a radio show on Rock the Bells on Sirius XM Radio. When Juicy J and I put out Juicy J's book a couple years ago, Roxanne Shante and DJ Kool had us on there. So thanks to them for promoting Chronicles of the Juice Man. That was an honor. And they both interviewed Roxanne Shante, and Kool interviewed me and interviewed Juicy J. So that was like an amazing experience to be on Rock the Bells radio back then when this was coming out. So great moment. Ram Blue 5171 EMCs don't really ever rest in peace. They rapping forever in my head, in my speakers. That's for sure. That's one of the great things about hearing the music and having the music, is that it lives on forever. ND Productions 9 with the fire emojis. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. And one of the other things that this project, Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew, has a lot of is homages to women. We have the Lolita song by Craig G. We got the Roxanne The Truth by Roxanne Shante. And then the next song is Single Mothers, which is Pearl Gates, Master Ace on there. And that one, I think people that have watched Unique Access, they know that I believe that Master Ace is one of the best rappers in the history of the genre. Dude is phenomenal, and that only continues on Single Mothers. It's another very introspective song from Ace, and delivered extremely thoughtfully. And he's talking to the single mothers out there, talking to them about, hope and staying strong in the mix, figuring things out, even though you are a single mother, and not giving up, and how there isn't many things stronger than a mother's love. So Master Ace, throughout his career, has put out very thoughtful music. That trend continues with Single Mothers here on Bobby Digital Presents The Juice Crew. So I think that's a remarkable thing. And he also really delves into the mind of the mother, talking about how she wants to put herself first, but that she knows she has to take care of her child first. So all these things show the depth and in my opinion, brilliance of Master Ace and his artistry, because he's able to really articulate a lot of the thoughts of a lot of different people and provide a lot of different perspectives, which I think is something that is a hallmark of his career and places him among the elite rappers, and to me, one of the greats, one of the best of all time. So, gotta shout out Master Ace as always. Hopefully, we'll get him back here on Unique Access Entertainment soon. But he has a plethora of interviews. You can check them out through our Cold Chillin' playlist that we have, or you can just search Master Ace on our channel and see all the stuff on there. And then the album, or the project's probably an EP, I would imagine. Given its length, it's pretty short, but Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew ends with Game Over. And this is an MC Shan song. So for those that saw, Shan was very adamant that Marley Marl should have been involved in this project. So I was surprised that they have an MC Shan song on here, but very glad that they do, because MC Shan is a great storyteller. He's a great artist. I interviewed him on Unique Access. Definitely search and check those out if you haven't watched those yet. They're very illuminating, and MC Shan is very passionate and very forthright with a lot of his own shortcomings, and some of that deals with his addiction issues, of course. But on Game Over, MC Shan's talking about on his way to hell and looking for the best route. So it's very, very intriguing, this storyline that he presents on Game Over on Bobby Digital Presents Juice Crew because it's kind of like interesting look into somebody that's struggling, and hopefully I'll get Shan on again on Unique Access so I can talk to him in detail about it. Percy Miller, H3Q, live from Detroit. What up, though, SB? Yes, appreciate that, man. Glad to see you, Percy Miller, and thank you for watching as always and supporting Unique Access. And want to give another shout out to ND Productions 9 for that super chat. Appreciate the little financial donation to Unique Access, something that I can, definitely help spread the wealth to the people that help me. Soren can try to get a thumbs up. I don't know what you mean, Percy Miller, but definitely thumbs up and appreciate the support. But back to the Game Over with MC Shan, you know, he's talking about, is this what it's like for your life, to leave? So he's talking about a life and death situation. And this is a powerful thing, especially as Roxanne Shante mentioned a lot of people that passed away. And then we have Granddaddy IU on this project, a cold chillin' artist that was not, I guess, a Juice Crew in the original incarnation and imagination of it, but obviously worked on the label and did a lot of stuff. Check Big Daddy Kane in Russia Live, Ram Blue 5171. I did not know that Big Daddy Kane had done a concert in Russia, so that sounds very intriguing. Fortunately, I've got to see Big Daddy Kane perform in several different decades and several different locations throughout the years. And for those that have also gotten to see Big Daddy Kane perform, he's an excellent performer, still brings a lot of energy. And in fact, one of the two interviews I have with Big Daddy Kane on Unique Access Entertainment was right after a performance he did. I interviewed him in Inglewood right after he had performed. Percy Miller, H3Q, Soren, can you try to get Second to None and one of Detroit's Most Wanted? I actually do have a Second to None interview on the channel where I interviewed both D and the KK when I was at the Easy E street naming in Compton. So definitely check on the site. We have a Second to None playlist. Percy Miller, you can check that. One of Detroit's Most Wanted. I would love to do that. That'd be dope. I did get Awesome Dre from Awesome Dre and the Hardcore Committee represent Detroit. Percy Miller, if you want to check that one out, if you haven't seen it already, have several great interviews with Awesome Dre. So check those out as well. And with Game Over with MC Shan, it's just remarkable that Shan wrote this story because of his, addiction issues. And one of the most intriguing lines that he has, playing off one of the greatest rap songs of all time, he says, MC Shan raps, will they reminisce over you? Maybe. So that to me is pretty wild because that's something that obviously P Rock and CL Smooth did a great job with that song, shouting out Trouble T Roy. But then maybe people will, maybe they won't. That's something that we have to do with our mortality, each one of us, because that's coming one of these days. Ram Blue, Percy Miller, I saw that dope interview at RIP Easy E. Percy Miller also saw Awesome Dre. Thank you for watching that, Percy Miller. Ram Blue 5171, the bridge lyrics are some of hip hop's most important messages. Break down what you mean by that, Ram Blue, because MC Shan has a lot of great stuff on there. Detroit, Derek Malroy, Detroit's Most Wanted were dope. I still have all their albums. Yes, they were. So hopefully we'll get there. Get somebody from Detroit's Most Wanted on there. And yes, Percy Miller. Yes, Derek Malroy. Hopefully we'll be able to make that happen here on Unique Access Entertainment. Ram Blue, Dead Dreams. Yeah, I mean, that's the challenging thing. With Game Over, it does have a dramatic, remarkable end. So definitely, if and when you listen to that, check it out. And it's also intriguing hearing Shan's voice being so different. So I'm hoping to get to talk to him about that because I have a lot of questions as to how and why it ended up that way on Game Over. Derek Malroy, can you interview Detroit legendary AWOL? Yet another one I'd want to get. I know he's not from Detroit, but for Percy Miller and Derek Malroy, actually one of the first rappers I ever met in person was MC Breed. I was in Atlanta. Um, I'd met him a couple times, um, and I never interviewed Breed, but I had met him twice. So that's kind of crazy. Once when I was at my friend Mean Green's house, rest in peace to him, as well as to MC Breed. And then I just met Breed at another music industry function. So that was wild that MC Breed was one of the first rappers I'd ever met in person. Yeah. Percy Miller, Molly Scratch was the first time I listened to MC Shan. Yeah, man. That was early in the game. Percy Miller, RP Breed. Um, Derek Malroy, Swarmbreaker interview AWOL, how they dissed MC Breed on what it be like diss track to Breed. Yeah, AWOL's got a rich history there. Oh, wow. Uh, Karen Arnold, are you familiar with the duo named Jason and Grayson? As a matter of fact, I am. They were on Atlantic Records, if I remember correctly. I definitely have their album, and I would love to get them on there. And thank you, uh, Karen Arnold, for the donation here to the Unique Access, the super chat. Appreciate that. That was greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for showing support. That's a way that I'm able to help the people that help me with Unique Access, and we're greatly appreciated because we're just trying to build the channel and get it up as big as we can. Percy Mello, AWOL, hell yeah, yes. Derek Malloy, RP, MC Breed, for sure. Definitely disappointed I never got to interview him. Percy Miller, 85, I was 8. Yeah, I was young in the game too. Young in the game. I was 10 in 85. So yeah, we're around the same age. Percy Miller. So that's that. But Ram Blue, how am I doing? I'm doing well. I got a lot of exciting things going on this year. I'll be having at least one book come out, so hopefully you guys can support that. I'm very excited for that, and hopefully I'll have 2 or 3 actually even coming out this year, as well as a lot of other stuff I'm working on. So yeah, so we shall see. Percy Miller, can you try to interview the guy from a Murder Master Music channel? Yeah, that would be good. And Isham or Isham, I always say his name wrong because I got it wrong in my head the first time and now I always mispronounce it. But yes, I would love to interview him too, putting it down early in the game. Uh, One of the icons of the game. Yes, yes, and yes. So I'm going to be wrapping up soon, but I wanted to see if anybody had any other comments on Bobby Digital Presents the Juice Crew or anything else you want to ask me, as people have been asking and telling me they want me to do more of these lives. So I'm making a point to do so because it's important, I think, to connect and thank you guys on video that watch and support Unique Access. And then I also help to try to grow the channel because I know a lot of people like lives. Percy Miller, thanks SB for what you do for us OG rap fans. Thank you for watching. Percy Miller, I really appreciate it. And that's why we try to do these things to keep building the brand, keep building the channel, and top authority, of course, Derek Mallory, for sure. For sure, for sure. Ram Blue, I recommend a Ballet in Mud by RZA. I'll check out Juice Crew. RZA, thanks. For sure. I actually got to see Ballet in Mud when RZA performed it in Los Angeles. So that was pretty awesome to see and pretty surprising because to see the evolution of the RZA, and I actually interviewed him about that. You can check it out. You can find it online, but on for Flood magazine. But yeah, just to be able to see the evolution of the RZA now doing stuff with Juice Crew, it's pretty wild, man. That this great evolution all the time. SB had to F with the live. Appreciate that, Percy Miller. Bringing back your childhood. Glad to hear that. Top authority for sure. Derek Mallory, have I heard of Ready for the World members doing drugs during their heyday? I had not heard about that. I listened to Ready for the World and liked them, but I really only knew the radio stuff. As much as I listened to R&B, it was mostly, the stuff I'd hear on the radio in Maryland, and hearing and having the Baltimore and the DC radio channels, we got a lot of R&B back in the day until today. Anytime I go home, it's still like a big R&B radio market. Ready for the World's from Flint. Thanks for reminding me on that. I had forgotten about that. But yeah, um, it's a lot of great music out there, and I'm glad we get to talk about it on Unique Access Entertainment. And definitely in the comments, I would like to see what people think. Percy Miller, Inspector Deck interview, members of the Woo spinoff. Well, I do have a RZA interview on Unique Access. If you haven't seen that, definitely search the channel for it. I also have Remedy on Unique Access. You can check those interviews. And I want to get a number of artists, other members of the Woo. So I'm hoping to make that happen. I'm actually trying to work on that. And Inspector Deck would be a spectacular one because, of course, he's one of the greats of the group. Um, did I get a Mike T CMW interview, Percy Miller? Yes, I did. So definitely look on Unique Access Entertainment. You'll be able to find it. And I did a number of great interview segments with him. So that's another crazy loss. We're just losing all these great people that we grew up loving and listening to their music and their contributions to the game and to our lives. So terrible stuff. Terrible stuff. But that's how it is. All right. Well, Bobby Digital presents the Juice Crew in stores worldwide now. I'm excited to see what people think about it, and I'm sure we'll get some comments about it in the actual video when people check it out. But I'm really glad you guys came through to Unique Access today. And what DJs do we have coming up? I got a few things I'm working on, but I also wanted to shout out ND Productions 9 again, and also shout out to Karen Arnold for the super chats, for the donations, helping us out here on Unique Access. That really helps the cause. I've talked to Gangster Nip. I did interview him once, but not for Unique Access. Banging on Wax members, nope. I haven't interviewed any of them. Ronnie Phillips kids. You talking about through Selecto hits, I assume? Capadonna got a new LP as well. It's dope. Ram Blue. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get Capadonna and see if we can make that happen because he'd be a very intriguing interview. And I'm sure most people know that he was spending a lot of time in Baltimore and living in Baltimore for a time. And being from Maryland, that's another connection that I got with Capadonna and the Woo. So hopefully be able to talk to him. Percy Miller, Mike T ain't dead. I hope that's true. But I saw MC Aid and a lot of people saying that Mike T's dead. I assumed it was true since Aid had posted about it, but I'll reach out to Mike T and see if he responds. But since the news broke of his death, he and I would DM and interact occasionally, and I hadn't gotten anything, so I sadly assumed that was true. So yes, I'm not sure. But anyway, all right, y'all. Well, I appreciate you tuning in to the live and contributing to this chat. And again, thanks to the people that gave us the super chat. Crazy D is down and in effect. I would like to get Crazy D, as I would anybody from Ruthless. I have a Ruthless playlist on Unique Access. My favorite go-go song, Hamza Mitch 6003. That's a very tough song, tough one, but one of the ones that I remember that is hard to find the real version for is the Water Dance by DJ Flex. I just love that song. So that was one of my favorites. Uh-oh is another one, Rare Essence. I mean, there's just so many songs. It's hard to say. Sardines, of course, Junkyard Band. It's a lot of great stuff. And I know it's not that new anymore, but the Backyard Band, when they did Hello by Adele, that cover is amazing. So those are some of my favorites, but there's so many. Johnny J or Ram Blue, Johnny J, be digging them out, is a gem I just discovered. LA Finest Grammy winner, Latino. Yes, great producer. sadly also had passed away. Terry B, Derek Malloy. Yeah, I've talked to her many times, said I wanted to interview her, tried to get her in my book, The History of Gangster Rap. For those that bought that, I mentioned her in there, but I wished I'd gotten, she was working on a book and other things, so she wanted to focus on that. So that's unfortunate. Uh, Hamza Mitch, DJ Flex, I remember, yeah. The Water Dance, man, that's a great one. Um, yes, yes, yes. And Derek Malloy, since you have Terry B's debut album, as you know, Schoolie D produced on there and in her video and all of that kind of stuff. And Schoolie D and Terry B dated for a long time. So that adds another wrinkle to my appeal of Terry B, given that Schoolie D is my favorite artist. So yeah, that was a big thing for me back in the day since I love Schoolie D. Percy Miller, Detroit rap has come a long way. That's for sure, man. Um, so yeah, so there it is, y'all. Really appreciate you guys coming through, watching. You can watch this again on the replay, of course. If you missed any of it, look forward to your feedback on Bobby Digital Presents The Juice Crew. And we'll be doing more of these lives. I've been doing more of them. Got more in store. And check Unique Access for more and more interviews, more and more comments, and the new segment I'll be doing soon, hopefully launching this month, that I'll be doing monthly, that I think a lot of people that watch the channel are going to appreciate. That'll be coming soon, and appreciate all your guys' support. And thank you again. One more shout out to Kyron Arnold and to ND Productions 9. Really appreciate the super chat and you guys supporting Unique Access. Really appreciate it, y'all. Till next time.